It's Orekaraing time.
Is it already?
Yeah.
Wow. So, how are we feeling this week?
Good. It looks like there's lots of stuff to buy around here. Are all the shops open right now?
Yeah, because this
Hmm.
is Japan. We're in Fukuoka today.
Nice.
Fukuoka's
I know
what's it
Fukuoka
called?
from Excel Saga.
Oh, I haven't watched that
Oh, okay.
nearly
All the
enough yet.
characters are named after hotels. They're in Fukuoka.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Little trivia for you. Yeah. If you go there, you can stay at the Excel hotel and have your own little
Ah,
saga.
so that's why she's called Excel?
Yeah, and her best friend is Hyatt.
Ah, I didn't know that. Wow, I'm
Now you
learning
know.
already so much
You'll enjoy it
on
even
this.
more when you watch it. No.
Yeah, I guess now that you mention it, maybe that's the
Hmm.
next series that I'm going to catch up on.
Yeah, you should. It's a
Gonna
good
watch it
one.
in
A little
Japanese
classic.
and in
A
English
weird
because the English
classic.
dub is really good.
Oh, really? I've never seen the
Yeah,
English dub of it.
it's very similar. It has the same energy, and some of the English
Hmm.
lines are coming out so funnily. So
Okay, nice.
it's a definitely a recommendation from me
Yeah.
if you can get your
Usually,
hands on it.
usually the only times I'll watch English dubs of things is when it has a setting that makes more sense in English, like
Mm,
Bakano, that takes place almost entirely in America. I watched that in English. It had a great dub.
hmm.
What else have I been watching in English? I've been watching Ranking of Kings in English, and I don't know why,
English.
because it's a fantasy setting, so it doesn't really matter. But
Guess.
it's the voices are pretty good in that. I like that
I
show.
see. I
Yeah.
recently watched Kino's Journey in English, and I
Uh-huh.
realized that the English dub is at times very different and
Oh, really?
ruining the point of the
Like
story.
they changed the script.
Yes.
I
For
hate when they
instance,
do that.
there
The
is an episode.
localizers strike again.
Well, back in the day, that the series is from I think 2003, something like that.
Oh, you're watching the older one? I thought there was a
Yeah, the
newer
original.
a
Yeah, I watched
remake
that one
of it.
afterwards.
Yeah. Is it better? Is the
That's
dub of that better?
I didn't watch that one in dub
Okay.
form. The thing is,
Mm.
in the original, I had to watch it dubbed because the original Japanese voices in that one are really annoying.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But the problem is that they changed the translation in some episodes. Where, for instance, there's an episode where an old guy, what was it? Some old guy had too much knowledge and he decided to die on his own or something like that. And he had a
Hmm.
caretaker, and the caretaker was basically a government assassin.
Oh no.
And in the English dub, they completely changed what she later on said about having to kill him. I
Ah.
already forgot about it. It's annoying. But one more thing that's really interesting about the English dub is that the English voice actress for Kino sounds like
Hmm.
Crony.
Really? Maybe it
Yeah,
is her.
it. I kind of doubt it,
Because okay,
but
because
I
there
have
there
because
is
I
some overlap
investigated.
with anime and VTubers, aren't there?
Definitely, I investigated
Yeah.
it, and since I'm pretty sure I have well, I'm
You got a good
somewhat
ear for that
sure.
sort of thing.
No, I'm somewhat sure I have a vague idea of what Crony might look like in real life.
Hmm.
And I
How?
checked what the well, and I checked what the Kino voice actress looked like, and
Uh,
she looks very different. So
okay, so it's not her, just some vaguely similar sounding person.
yes, but enough to make me go like, this would be if Crony was an
Hmm.
adventurer, a
Yeah.
traveler.
Well, her come to think of it, her newest outfit, she's got a jacket, sort of like Kino
Yeah,
wears. Yeah, she could be.
maybe
She could
there's
be.
a
She's
um
becoming Kino, the not petite version, the big
there might
version.
be a cosmic connection that only I'm aware of.
Hmm.
And now you too are aware of
I
it.
know. I have the knowledge now. But
Anyways,
that's not what we're here for today. We're not here to talk about that kind of adventure.
Right. We
We're
also
talk about other
read the Jump.
adventures. Yeah. Because this week we've had, what number issue is this?
13.
Issue 13 of 2023 Weekly Shonen
Pretty
Jump.
far in already. This is a very exciting week. Do you know why?
Why is it exciting? Tell me.
This is the week after High School Family ended.
That's right.
And
but it didn't get filled in the regular magazine with something else, did it? Because I think the new series this week is Jump Plus only, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And even more excitingly, PPPPPP is ending.
Oh, that's this week?
Yeah, that's this week.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Normally, you're saying like, this...
Yeah, usually I always read the final chapters of things, but I did not read the final of PPPPPP.
You should have. This week was.
Am I gonna be amazed and pleased with it?
No, absolutely not. Stay until the end of the video to find out what my opinion on PPPPP is and what happens and all of the intricacies that don't fit in one tweet, because I've been arguing a little bit about it. Just a little bit.
Really? With the PPPPP lovers?
There's quite a few of them.
Really?
And they are very vocal.
What a surprise.
As all of the Jump readers are. And they're all wrong.
No. Unfortunate.
But that's very unfortunate. You should be more correct about your Jump opinions, and maybe you'll take a few notes from what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, but before that, what's the first thing we have? Is it the cover story? One Piece.
Yes, it is the cover story. It's
One Piece. Oh, look at that that nice color page we got.
Yeah,
we got out of the way so you can see Nami better.
Also, Frank, you're hiding Frankie behind you, and Frankie is doing some kind of like, oh, Nami look. It's kind of funny, but you don't have to put in too much effort. I would just recommend to anybody.
There he is. He's so happy. He loves it.
Still, anybody who's interested in One Piece, go to Jump Plus and read it on your own. Get the high quality screenshots for yourselves.
Yeah. Although this week they did have bad news, and next week will be hiatus time. No One Piece next week. Yeah. So we are going to have to wait for a while for more of this.
What's the bad news? Tell me the bad news.
That's all. Just that there's no One Piece next week. It didn't say why. Just none of it. Maybe Oda just wanted to have a little vacation. Maybe he's just relaxing.
He always gets 1 week in the month off, and I guess we just never keep track of when that would be.
So he looked out Jump Plus and was like, "Hey, I want that schedule." Like, nah, but you're not going on Jump Plus. Just take a week off with the regular magazine.
Unironically, I think he's the one who made that possible.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember, I don't even know when that was. That's already years ago when they decided to change his schedule, because he had a few weeks off where he was sick, and they were really panicking in the editorial department where they were like, if One Piece stops, this magazine is finished.
Magazine ends when One Piece ends.
Yeah. So that's why they were like, we are not going to risk another Togashi situation where he's going on hiatus for like several years.
Decades.
We will install a system where big authors get to take more breaks.
Yeah, it makes sense just from a creator's standpoint, because those guys seem so overworked. The number of pages they're expected to deliver every week.
They really are. And I think the majority of readers would also agree that, they would go weeks without their favorite series if it means that their favorite author gets to.
I don't know about weeks, but I think it's like if every month had 3 chapters instead of 4, I think most people would be fine with it.
I think most people would also accept a bi-weekly schedule.
Bi-weekly or semi-weekly? I'm never clear on that. I think bi-weekly is twice a week.
Oh!
Semi-weekly is every other week.
Okay, semi-weekly.
Yeah, that's the word.
Either way, I think thanks to Oda doing that a few years ago,
he paved the way.
I think he paved the way for Jump Plus having that schedule.
Yeah, we wouldn't have
at least the freedom.
Wouldn't have great stuff like Undead Unluck and Chainsaw Man Part 2 without Oda. Anyway, what happened this week in One Piece, chapter 1076?
Summarize it for everybody who needs a refresher.
Or didn't read it.
I don't think anybody is read One Piece.
No one who's listening to this doesn't read One Piece.
The Lucci and Kaku situation. Luffy is supposedly baiting Lucci into agreeing to something. Am I understanding the situation correctly? Because Luffy isn't the person who says something smart. He can't bait anybody. It's physically impossible. He can't do it.
They're not going to take the bait to agree to your terms, I guess is what Zoro is saying.
What terms? It's just
the terms of don't go after my friends or I'll beat you up. It's simple. He's not saying anything complicated. Zoro's just conceptualizing it as bait. That's all. It's an idiom.
Okay, and I guess Lucci accidentally agrees to it? It's not even... He's not agreeing to it. He's not going I take the bait.
He isn't really
he's
agreeing
like, okay,
to it.
Yeah,
he's like...
Luffy is announcing that he will beat Lucci if he's going after his friends. And Lucci is like, yeah, I'm going to go after you first, and then I'll kill your friends. Like, how is that bait to agree that they would go back to being imprisoned? I don't understand the situation.
Yeah, I don't think he's taking the bait to go back into prison. He's taking the bait to agree to not leave and attack their friends. He's like, no, I'll attack your friends if I can beat you in a fight. That's all that is. It's just that both Lucci and Luffy are being overconfident here, and both of them are like, yeah, I can totally beat you. So Lucci's like, yeah, I won't go after your friends before I fight you. I'm gonna fight you first. And Luffy is like, yeah, you won't go after my friends because you won't win against me.
It seems like a mutual understanding what is going to happen.
Yeah. Basically, after we fight the Seraphim, we are gonna brawl. That's what Luffy and Lucci are up to. I thought it was funnier earlier when Kaku was like, yeah, we'll totally go back into handcuffs. And
that was funny.
Zoro's like, no way. And Luffy's like, oh, great, thanks. He believed them so easily.
Yeah, that was funny. But I just to just reiterate what I've been saying in previous weeks, I don't like that CP0 is still a threat. And
you were hoping for a complete switch into whoever's controlling the Seraphim.
No, I want them out of the picture.
You want them to just leave. Yeah, you almost had that when they were chained up. Yeah. Now they're back.
And now we're going back to the situation where they remain a threat and they want
it's like Susie's efforts sucking everyone was all for naught.
Relatable.
Sad. Maybe she'll come back and give them the suck again. That would be good, right?
That would be good, but now that they know what she can do, I think they will be so wary of her. They would start trying to dispose of her.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. I just want them gone. They are too big of a threat to all of the minor characters.
Right.
And we already know that Luffy can just beat Lucci and Kaku.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like we need a second round. That's where I'm coming from. We've seen it happen before. Luffy is probably like 10 times stronger than he used to be
right.
in
when they were on
Enies lobby.
Enies lobby, yeah.
And Lucci is probably only 5 times stronger than he used to be. So it's not even it's not a comparison.
Right.
Luffy
it's not fair
beat
if they
him
do
once
get in
when
a direct fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm annoyed by.
Mm-hmm. Well, he just wanted the drama of the team up. Be like, look, they're on the same side temporarily.
I know.
That's all.
You know what? It's the same situation as when what's his name? Hyena guy.
I forget his name too.
You know, the spring guy.
Yeah. Bellamy.
Starts with Bellamy. When he showed up again and was like, "No, I'm stronger now," and Luffy just beat him in the same way.
He is also on a journey, but it's on a journey that doesn't have as much XP on it, so he hasn't leveled as much as the Straw Hats have.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
Oh yeah, the prison. They're in like this sci-fi prison. Everyone get in the plastic giant hamster container.
Is it even a prison?
Yeah, it's a prison. It's a hamster prison.
I think
somehow Vegapunk Stella got put in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, who was phone?
Yeah, exactly. How did this happen? Because last we saw him, he was running away from Bonnie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's here with all of these guys who, I guess, someone is all the Vegapunks, or just whichever Vegapunk has gone rogue has been imprisoning all these government agents who come to the island?
It seems like it, and because I mean nobody else would be able to do this, right?
Right, it's got to be one of the Vegapunks.
Because otherwise Oda would have to introduce completely new character. Like, I was here all
so far
along.
all the other people on Egghead Island are just NPCs who run around when stuff blows up, and they don't actually make any decisions.
I mean, he could still be like, I had another Vegapunk number 7.
The secret Vegapunk. Yeah.
Still possible,
that would be dumb. I think it's got to be one of the ones we've already met.
Yeah, with the way things are going right now, I would say Shaka is probably could
traitor.
Be secretly a traitor, because he's the
good.
Shaka is the good one, and if he's like, well, I'm good, so I'm pro-government because the government is good, right?
Government always knows what's best.
Or maybe Vegapunk on these pages, he explains that they've been doing poneglyph research. So if one of the Vegapunks, which I'm going to suspect is Shaka, if one of them realized what's written on the poneglyph, like what the ancient history is, he's like, oh, this is dangerous. This would be bad for the world. We actually have to do something. And maybe he has been plotting
for the greater good. He could be one of those. For the greater good, yeah. I'll betray everyone for the greater good. Could be that. Yeah, I can see that happening.
So, still to be determined if this holds true. One more thing in One Piece is that Shanks is
Shanks is here on Elbaf.
And this, for some reason, I've seen this already being discussed on Twitter. I have my Twitter
by the people who follow leaks or what?
That's the weird part. I have Twitter set to Japan. Which means I only get to see the trending tags that are in Japan. And even before the chapter came out officially, even the Japanese were talking about Kid's arm and Ben
Oh,
Beckman.
huh. They
So
knew.
if you read those two tags together,
Mm-hmm.
you pretty much figure out, oh, Ben Beckman is the one who cut off Kid's arm.
Yeah, must be.
And somehow a lot of people got really excited about that. I couldn't care less.
Huh. These
This
two
is
side characters are they're gonna finally clash again.
how do you feel in general about Shanks?
About Shanks, he's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to have the guy who started Luffy on his journey also kind of being going for the same thing. So it's likely that they're going to be in competition.
Yeah, I'm not too hot about Shanks. I think it's dumb that he allowed his arm to get bitten off by some
Yeah,
kind
when
of
he's obviously
moray.
strong enough that he could have used Haki to stop it before it got to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that maybe that part was written before Oda came up with the idea of Haki.
Obviously. I
Yeah.
mean, the idea was there that he was so intense that just the look in his eyes would scare the Lord
Yes.
of the Coast away. But
Yeah. The fact that he didn't
it's
use it first.
yeah,
He
that's
grabbed Luffy first and let his arm get
feels
bitten
kind of
off.
weird. It would
It's a
make
good
sense.
it's a good thing for a first chapter to show like,
Yeah.
this is the guy who started him off on his journey.
Yeah,
He's so
yeah.
cool.
But then he develops into being like, oh, he was
Yeah.
the emperor of the seas all along. Yeah. I mean, I don't like the designs of any of his crewmates. I think it's
Not
also
even Lucky Roo, the coolest one of them all.
the worst. It's literally one of the worst. I think it's also kind of it's not very interesting that we know that Shanks just has really high haki, but otherwise he doesn't have some
No
kind
devil
of
fruit.
theme or special devil
Right.
fruit or something. It's just he's super strong. Okay, that's
he's tough
fine.
guy, very tough. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't find in One Piece with all of these crazy other people around.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who doesn't have a theme feels kind of boring almost.
That's what makes him special. He's the extreme case of the guy who doesn't even have a devil fruit but has gotten to this level nevertheless.
That he's
Rare.
always just hanging out, like partying or drinking and lying in
we rarely see him
lawn
in a
chair.
fight or doing anything intense.
He's just always just sitting on some kind of porch or on a bench or something like. Oh, I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
Something important is going on. Well, I know about it, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Now he's starting to do something, and now for me, kind of the tension is out of the balloon. I'm deflated about Shanks.
Really? You're not excited about how he's gonna beat up Kid and get the giants on his ship?
I don't like the Giants either. The Giants. Here's one more trivia for you.
Tell me.
The Giants in German, because the German translation used to be very
Are they called
bad.
Veltans?
No, that would be funny. I would like that. The Giants were in, I think, volume 12 and 13.
Yeah, long ago.
That's super long ago. And back then, the translator were like, if we can't figure out how the name of somebody is supposed to go in another language, we'll just make something up. So they called the Dory and Broggy are named Boogie and Woogie. And
nice.
that is so lame that
it biased you against the Giants in One Piece forever.
They also look kind of lame. These two in particular.
People have cartoony looks in One Piece. I don't mind it. I don't mind their look. I'm used to their normal names and not Boogie Woogie, so I'm fine with Shanks teaming up with giants.
Oh wait, and the cherry on top, I don't like Shank's voice actor.
Oh really? I don't even remember what he sounds like in the anime.
It has this weird tone of somebody from a completely different age, like from the 80s something.
Okay, that's odd.
I would say.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could tell what you mean. I think the most recent that I've gotten annoyed by a voice sounding like it's from a different era was the trailer for the Starship Troopers video game. I've linked that to you.
Yeah.
Because that guy, like, the movie version of Starship Troopers, like, I know the director said that it's supposed to be a parody of the book.
Know.
And he was like trying to make it bad on purpose, but it's actually, I don't think it's bad. I like that movie. Yeah,
absolutely based.
Yeah, but in that movie, they have a bunch of scenes that are supposed to be their in-world propaganda videos, and they have a guy doing a voice that's like, kind of old-timey, almost, World War II, mid-century propaganda video type voice.
It's the one who says, "Would you like to know more?"
Yeah, exactly. But then in the ad for the new video game, the new Starship Troopers video game, they have a guy who's trying to do that voice, but obviously can't, and it sounds terrible.
They got him off of Fiverr.
Probably. I was watching that, and since I think Starship Troopers is cool, I was like, oh, maybe I would play this, but then I listened to the voice acting, and I was like, if this is the quality that they believe is good, I don't have any faith in this game to be good, because they thought that this voice was cool.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that Starship Troopers is cool, but...
Yeah. Oh, also they, at least in the trailer for the game, maybe they'll add it in DLC to make people pay for it, but they didn't have the cool mecha suits that Starship Troopers are supposed to get when they're anime. I know they left them out of the movie because it's just they're like, we spent so much money on the bugs, we don't have any money to put like an Iron Man suit in this movie.
Well, the movie bugs are cool, I guess, but the
soldiers I really like the design of the bugs in the movie, and the soldiers are so boring. But the anime, in the anime, they've got like Spartan suits.
Okay, that's cool.
And, yeah, they're cooler, and it actually makes me think that Halo was probably very strongly inspired by Starship Troopers, because also there are some bug-like aliens in Halo. They're not as common as the Covenant, but the Flood, they're sometimes kind of bug-like. Mostly just zombie-like, though. But then the Spartan armor, it looks a lot like the anime Starship Troopers armor. And then the regular Marine armor looks a lot like the Starship Troopers live-action armor.
Well, that is probably another cosmic connection that only we are privy to.
We and everybody who worked on Halo at Microsoft back in the day.
Maybe they did it unconsciously, but we are the only ones who realize that they did it because of Starship Troopers.
Google it and find 0 other results. Only us. We're the only people who have ever noticed that. Anyway, at the end of the chapter, Shanks' whole crew is like, nothing personal, kid. We have to go all out.
I guess I don't care too much about Kid and his crew. So I guess these two crews get to duke it out, and I won't feel bad about either of them losing.
Watch as it's completely off screen. It's just like in half a year we see Shanks again, and Kid is now one of his lackeys.
Definitely. That's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I guess the one neat thing about this encounter is that Shanks, now being somewhat like an ally to the giants on Elbaf, that's some kind of effect where all of the players on the field, even those that were used to be unaffiliated, are now taking sides with either of the 5 main forces.
Because we're coming towards the finale. the climax of the story.
I think that's kind of interesting how we have the Marines, the 4 Emperors, and everybody who used to be not leaning towards one or the other.
The unaligned
is now taking
forces.
sides.
Right. They're now joining somebody.
And that opens up the possibilities of a lot of cool characters from the past coming back.
All the warriors. They're all going to come back.
All the warriors!
Yeah, all of
them. Let me check. This was my second favorite chapter.
Second favorite, wow. Something was even more exciting than One Piece.
Slightly more.
Just a bit.
This got 72 points from me.
Okay. Not bad. Going on. Just like us, Sakamoto Days, the flashback is in a shopping center.
Yes.
And Sakamoto stabs a elevator attendant with a credit card in this chapter.
Yeah, because they're infiltrating the assassins department in order to kill the Steel Dragon. But
what
they
a cool name!
Get ambushed. Is it? I mean, they comment on how it's not.
They
cool.
make fun of it, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's trying to be so cool." That's kind of a lame name.
So there is a lot of situations where there's just those random NPC enemies, grunts, who try to kill them.
It's an entire chapter of. I think we've said before this series is just
John Wick.
It's John Wick, the manga, and even earlier, I remember you showing me chapters of Sakamoto Days where the whole thing is just them fighting in public spaces while trying not to let other people know they're fighting.
Yeah.
It's like exactly from John Wick 2. And this is a chapter full of that, where they're in a department store that's owned by assassins. So they have to fight other assassins in the department store without letting all the normies who are just shopping realize what's going on.
I have some questions here.
What are your questions?
Okay, so on this page where they're in the elevator and there's a guy in there who's like, "Oh, I have to pick this up," and they use this opportunity to kill each other.
Well, Nagumo created the opportunity, but
wouldn't the old guy also be an assassin if he's shopping in the assassin's department store?
No, they say that the department store is owned by assassins and they have assassins mixed in with the staff. But a lot of the people shopping there are just normies.
But I thought what's the point of having an assassin's department store if it's not specialized in assassins' goods? Why would assassins shop?
It's a front. It's a front. They have to have the normal stores there as a front. And then if you're a killer, then maybe you can go to the special section. Okay, haven't you ever been to any places like that?
What? Where people try to kill you?
No. Like places that have like a secret area for special customers. You've never seen something like that?
Not really.
Yeah, because there's I forget the name.
I know you're going to mention Disney. You're going to talk about the secret.
No, I wasn't actually.
Bar, the one secret bar in Disneyland where you have to be a member.
I've never been there.
And you, of course, you're not because you have to be a celebrity, and you.
I was going to talk about speakeasies.
$10,000 to. I
mean about speakeasies, right?
Yeah, I do know.
It's like a general concept, yeah.
But
and people still have them.
Really?
Because back in like literally 100 years ago, because of prohibition, they had them where restaurants would have a secret bar because you weren't allowed to openly sell alcohol. So then they would have to keep it closed from authorities. And now there's places that have that just for fun because they think it's interesting.
Yeah, because fun is illegal nowadays. That's why you have to go to a speakeasy to find all of the good memes.
Yeah, the weirdest one I've been to was a restaurant inside of a hardware store. So at the front, because normally you think of like a speakeasy, there's a restaurant, and then you're like, hey, I have a reservation for the back room. And they're like, oh, come here. And then it's a bar. But this one place I went to, you would go into the front, and they're selling like tools and electronics, like digital cameras and stuff. But then you would go to the counter and be like, "Oh, I have a reservation," and they'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, come to this back room." And there would be a staff only door that they would open for you, and you'd go in, and then down the hallway, that it opened up to this like extremely fancy restaurant and bar.
Wow. How is that tenable? How do you, like, if it's secret, how do you make enough money?
Well, this is in New York,
charge
so
more?
there's like lots of people who are in on it. But it's like if you didn't have a reservation, you just go and you can buy like camera equipment. And I'm sure that lots of people were like going there just thinking it's like a hardware and electronics store, and we're like, wow, there's lots of people going to the back room.
The restaurant inside, that's not even hardware themed, right?
No, it's not at all. It was just like a fancy restaurant. I don't even think they had a specific theme. I think the decor of it was a little bit goth with lots of velvety curtains, but not like themed to a particular place or time. Just vague. Let's make this place cool looking.
I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if I can make up my mind about this, but I would say I'm 30% that's cool and 70% that's super lame.
It's lame if you don't have a reservation. If you have a reservation, you're like, I feel special. I got into the secret place.
But what's the point? Just make the restaurant normal. Just have a normal restaurant. It's an
experience. Come on.
It would be such a pain for all of the people for all the employees.
You think? No, I think they love it. They probably think it's really cool. It's all of, because you know how there's that stereotype of struggling artists and actors who they wait tables.
Yeah,
that personality type probably thinks it's super cool. That's like, it's secret. You need
I'm
to know it
better than the normal Starbucks barista.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the secret Starbucks now. You can't get into this Starbucks unless you have a reservation.
Yeah, you're
our names for large, small are even more esoteric.
Imagine you get the recommendation like, you need to go to this really cool place. It's so secret. And then you're like, I have a reservation. And they're like, follow me, sir. And you go through the door and it's just a normal Starbucks.
That would be hilarious. I wonder if they would allow a franchisee to do that. If you bought a Starbucks and you're like, I'm going to make this a secret Starbucks. Would
remember the meme is that Starbucks are sometimes next to each other because they're so numerous. So the Starbucks is getting so numerous that they
is Starbucks franchised into like McDonald's, or are they all company owned?
That's definitely franchise.
Okay, yeah. Because I do enjoy how some McDonald's get like kind of weird and varied because the owner's like, I should do this instead.
Like, I don't think I know any weird McDonald's besides the one that we visited.
Piano McDonald's and
Piano McDonald's. That was a rarity. But other than that, I don't remember visiting any special McDonald's.
Because not super near where I live, probably about half an hour from where I live, there is a giant McDonald's, and they have two stories. It's a 2-story McDonald's. It's really
I know
wide.
Which one.
Oh, really?
I want to visit that one.
I don't know if it's got like a special name, but it's in Florida. It's the giant McDonald's, and they have, as well as the regular ordering place, they've also got a 24/7 breakfast line where you can get pancakes and McGriddles and stuff. And then if you go upstairs, there's a arcade and playground, as well as tables. Like, there's lots of McDonald's that have the little play places, right?
Yeah.
But this is the only one I've seen that has like an arcade and like full-sized playground.
It's cool.
huge.
It's cooler
amazing.
than you make it sound like.
Yeah. Oh, and there's
If
an
you-
elevator
you-
in it too.
You have to. You have to
You
watch
don't even
a
have
video
to
about
fight
it.
an assassin in the elevator. Just go up.
You think, but it's secret, so maybe.
No, because this is America where nowhere has elevator attendants. Do it yourself. Come on. You press the buttons. You don't need someone else to press the buttons for you.
It's true. Anyways, I had more complaints about Sakamoto.
Oh, really? What else didn't you like about this? It's fine. It's just a hide the fighting chapter.
The woman at the at the information desk at the entrance was like, you have to go through this metal detector, and you can't bring any weapons inside.
Yeah.
Now, what's the deal with all of the other dudes with their weapons inside?
They work there. They work there. They're allowed.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, they specifically said, because this place is run by assassins, they have assassins sprinkled in with the staff. So all those people who attack them with weapons, they are assassins who work for the department store.
How do they know that Sakamoto and his friends aren't just regular customers? What do they just attack any customer?
They somehow they found out that Sakamoto and friends are here to kill their boss. I don't know how. They somehow found out.
Fine, I'll accept that begrudgingly.
Yeah, it's a mystery, but they somehow found out, and then they have fights. That's the main part. It's just that they have fights, and there was one part that I thought was mildly funny.
Yeah, I know which one. This one.
Where Nagumo's like, "Oh, don't worry, Sakamoto. You'll never need to know how to run a cash register because you're such a tough assassin."
Right.
Little does he know that future Sakamoto is all about running the cash register.
Yeah. Well, it was such a low hanging. It was a potato of a joke. You didn't even have to like stretch out. You just pick it up.
You see it,
floor.
and you're like, I saw that coming, but I still enjoyed it.
Me too. Still.
Yeah. Then they meet the then leader of the Order.
It looks pretty lame. That's why I didn't include any visual references that would ruin our own video.
You just want to show him as a shadow man in the massage chair.
He's now a shadow man.
Yeah.
He's not that important. This isn't about this guy. It's about how how they got to know Uzuki.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. We're getting a little.
Uzuki hasn't even done anything so far.
Yeah,
he's just there, but because they show Sakamoto and Nagumo and Akane fighting, and I don't think they show Uzuki doing literally anything. He's along for the ride. Yeah. That's it. That was this week's Sakamoto. They're in the department store. Uzuki is there. What does he do? Why does he hate them? We haven't found out yet. Maybe we'll know next week.
I would say it's a fine chapter.
Mm-hmm. It's a setup chapter.
Not particularly good. Not just okay. 65 points. Yeah.
I'd say that's okay. Is the next one?
Now something that's actually pretty good.
Is the next one?
This is my favorite chapter this week. It's better. 1 point better than One Piece this week.
Wow.
And that's mainly because I do enjoy it when somebody who used to be unremarkable or not the main character
gets his moment.
That's it's kind of like when Yoshikage Kira didn't get defeated either by Jotaro or Josuke, but actually by what's his name, Kawajiri, his son. Yeah. Or if you want to be anal about it, he got defeated by Koichi. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because Koichi used Echo's Act 3 to make the little guys got heavier. The little guys got in, and that's what defeated him. And I like it.
That's what's happening with the original body of All for One too. The little guy got in.
So Tokoyami in this chapter, it's revealed that when Shiketsuhai got active, Tokoyami immediately started charging his laser.
Yeah.
He made his move just to get a really good hit in on All for One, and he explains that they realized All for One can't grab your quirk if
Yes,
it's
because
a
of watching
projectile.
Endeavor fighting.
Right, even if
He
the
needs to touch your
projectile's
body.
kind of connected to you, it needs to be directly body contact. And apparently his shadow doesn't count as it's like
because it's his
Smash
stand.
Brothers. It's do you remember? I think we've mentioned this before. It's Smash Brothers rules. When anything that's not the main body, something that doesn't have a hitbox, that's a projectile. So some characters who have moves that can absorb projectiles, you'd sometimes be surprised what they can absorb and what they can't. And All for One is again going by these rules where he can't absorb projectiles. He can only absorb when you're closer. He has to use a
touching
command
the main
grab.
body. Yeah. Right. And he can't in this case.
Yes. So that's interesting. That's all.
That's all you like? Is there anything else you like?
That's all in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Not much more is happening. Still 73 points for me. That's good.
Nice. Well, one thing that I was kind of wondering about is there is a moment where it looked like he was like All for One was trying to grab the toga twices. Did you notice that?
No.
Okay, well maybe I was misreading it, but it really seemed to me like there was a moment where he wanted to grab the toga twices. I was like, oh, is he gonna like try to steal that to also duplicate himself?
Would that be possible?
I don't think so.
It probably works under the same rules as that's kind of like a projectile.
Yeah. Because the extra body. Well,
imagine.
Also, didn't Twice say at one point that he can't tell the difference between his original body and his duplicate bodies?
That's just
he's like, I don't know if
crazy.
I'm the duplicate or not. You think it's just because he's
crazy?
Okay. All right.
Twice is supposed to be Deadpool, and Deadpool's thing is that he's crazy, and his craziness allows him to break the fourth wall because he's so. That's a thing that people always say about Joker, that he's so insane that he has hyper, what's it called? Hyper sanity. He's so sane that he appears to us that he's insane, but actually he understands the world way better than anybody else. And that's kind of how Deadpool's insanity sometimes gets explained, apparently.
Okay.
That he's so insane that he becomes so sane again that he understands the world better than anybody else. And since that's one of the core mechanics, of, like the core thing that makes Deadpool popular. Before he had that, he was unpopular. He was just
another one of another sword guy.
Yeah.
In comics.
Another sword and pouch guy. But once he gained
the Rob
that,
Liefeld era.
Yeah. Once he got that, he became popular, and then of course
he became the swords and pouches guy, not just one of them.
Yeah. And then Horikoshi looked at it and was like, yes, I need one of those in my manga. So he got the design and he got the craziness, but obviously he couldn't just
he threw away the swords and pouches.
And the quirk, he can't have the regeneration.
Right. He has duplication.
Yeah. He needs to have something original, and actually there is a Marvel character who also has this, where
he's an X-Men. Yeah.
He's an X-Men, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like weirdly not like they treat him as super low tier in the movie.
Even though that's really
good. Though it's bullshit. It's such a good ability.
If Horikoshi wanted to escalate things, he would have made it so that Toga can use Twice and duplicate herself So that
Yes, I
all
think
of
we
the
mentioned
duplicates...
it to be able to also use other people's abilities, because then she could be able to use. She got Deku's blood, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then there would be like 100 Togas with Deku's smash.
Right.
That'd be
and
so
then,
good. The whole
and then
lobby would be wiped.
Imagine one of those got grabbed by All for One, and then he not
Yeah.
only grabs the twice ability from the double, he also grabs, like, that would be the biggest nightmare. And I wouldn't put it past Horikoshi to do that, because he's done some other
except now we've learned that he can't. It's a pretty good chapter.
Yeah, a good chapter.
Yeah, action is happening. Dark Shadows finally getting his moment, even though I don't understand how he got so big.
Because
how he get big.
First of all, weather bad now.
Mm-hmm. So because there's lots of shadows around from the weather, he can.
The weather is blocking out the sun, and also, people are keeping All for One busy right now, so he doesn't have to constantly do something. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to go into this shadow right now, and that's going to power up, literally charging up his ultra.
Yes, that's a good way to conceptualize it. He's been charging, and now he's using it. He's using all 3 bars at once.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, going on.
Speaking of bars,
Akane-banashi. Yeah, it's a bar. What's his name? Kaisen? This is Kaisen's backstory?
It's Kaisen.
Yeah, so...
this is a flashback to his youth, where it's revealed that Isho Arakawa once paid for Kaisen's irresponsible mom's medical treatment.
But also, he was so irresponsible himself.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because the only reason the mom is like, I'm out of money, is because Isho never paid his tab for like, however long it was that he'd been going to this bar, until she's dying, and then he's like, oh, I can't have you die. Here's all the money.
I need this one special place where I can drink my
it's one of those things that's
drink.
like obviously trying to make Isho seem cool. Right? Like, oh, he did a good thing. Okay, he paid for this lady's treatment.
I guess.
But it also makes him seem kind of lame. It means that was like years of not paying for his drinks.
Oh, yeah.
When he says, in this very chapter, he says, oh yeah, I got rich by being like really good at Rakugo. Why couldn't you pay before? It's not like you suddenly got rich. Like, no one cared about your Rakugo before, but then, you played a sold out place and now you're rich, so you can pay. It's just like, I never paid my tab until you're dying, then I will.
Yeah, that was... Now that you mention it, that really diminishes my enjoyment now.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, because it wasn't that big in the first place. But you're completely right. The fact that he spent years without paying.
Yeah. Just pay earlier. Pay earlier.
This is when he's already pretty rich.
Yeah.
And I can kind of understand how
Kaisen's
somebody who's really rich...
Isho is really old, so clearly this is a point in time where Isho is already quite established as one of the top Rakugoka.
Yeah.
So, it's not like it's so far back that he was struggling while he was going to the mom's bar, and he's like, I finally hit it big. Here's all your money. He's like, I could have done this all along.
And then he does it in... It's a compromise between, this is technically a kind of like cool way, and it's supposed to show that he's deliberately being an asshole about it, because he doesn't want to be like, this is my favorite place and I'm kind of a dick, so since I never paid you're in that contributed to you being in this situation right now. So I'm kind of making up for it by paying. But also the way he's handing over money is, I would say, by Japanese standards, that's maximum disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
The only way he could have made it more disrespectful if he had just emptied the bag on top of her.
Just dumped it all out. Like, here's your money.
Because you're not supposed
Pick
to
it up
hand
yourself.
over.
Have your
Yeah.
kid pick it up from the floor. I'll just throw it everywhere.
Okay, could have gone even worse, but you get what I mean, because you're not supposed to hand over money if it's not in an envelope.
Ah, I see.
And
having a paper bag for it instead of an envelope.
Bringing it to the hospital is also like, what are you supposed to do with a bag of money that's not in your bank right now? And I mean, you can't, if when you pay for something, you do it, you put it in this tray, and then the cashier is accepting it in the tray, because you're not supposed to touch it. But just having the money open in a bag, I would say that's like almost maximum.
Yeah, I understand.
Not very, but it's deliberate, because it's supposed to show that he's playing the asshole because he doesn't want to seem like he cares about it.
He really cares.
He actually cares,
pay his tab for so long.
Yeah, if he cared enough about it, he should have.
He should have cared more. Did you ever read the Beatrix Potter books, like Peter Rabbit and stuff?
No.
Okay, one of the, I don't think it actually has Peter Rabbit in it, but there's a story in those books that's I want to say a cat and a dog, and they run a store, and they let everyone just run up their tab because they're like, oh, it's credit, we'll get paid later, and then all the other little animals then are really lazy and delay paying their tab, so the store goes out of business.
And they take advantage of them.
Yeah, like, and the ending of the story, because a lot of their customers are rodents. Then at the end of the story, it talks about how the store shut down, but then the dog and the cat like end up making a good living anyway, because it's lucrative to get paid by farmers to catch rodents. So it's like all the rodents didn't pay their tab, and then the dog and the cat running the store end up eating them.
Oh, they get their comeuppance.
It's got a moral to the story. Implied.
If you don't pay, we will kill you.
Implied moral, yeah.
But in Akane-banashi, Isho Arakawa is the one who kills people.
Yeah, you're right. He's the apex predator of this storyline.
You know, the Kaisen backstory, I would say, is not ruining his character, but I think making his motivation to become a Rakugoka just being money.
Some people are maybe
like he hated Isho.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think he has that big of an appreciation for his personality. The only thing he seems to respect is that he's really good at what he's doing and that he can make a lot of money from that. But other than that, Kaisen seems to be more of a money person than anybody else in this whole series. And previously, I thought he was just like, he was a flirt and he was kind of like easygoing, and he relishes
it's just a job.
in. Yeah, but he used to relish in his ability to be the feminine, flirty, kind of Rakugo specialist. And now it seems like he's just in it for the money.
It could be
both. I don't think
that's... He's like, it's just a job, but I'm going to have fun while I'm there.
Personally, if these two things, like being the flirty...
not mutually exclusive.
I would have done it differently. I would focus on his backstory being either this thing and then him being the money-grubbing Rakugoka, or vice versa. If he's the flirty Rakugoka, I would make his backstory about him developing this personality in his youth.
The flirty personality. Or you mean the
flirty personality. The flirty personality. Yeah. I would just go all in one way or another. I wouldn't make it both.
I don't mind, because I mean, people are complex. It's totally realistic for someone to be like, I'm taking this job just because I saw a guy making lots of money. And
Yeah, but the thing is, in the manga,
gonna do
in
that.
this, in a work of fiction,
You want to have each character have a driving theme to them.
yes,
Yeah.
because then you can, if one of these characters becomes the focus of the story, you can focus on this theme 100% and not get distracted by other stuff.
I mean, yeah, I guess we've got other characters like that, so I don't mind that there's one guy who's not in that mold. I'm fine with it. I mean, and also I just don't really care about Kaisen that much. So,
he should. I would say he's one of the more. He used to be one of the more interesting characters.
yeah, he's the one you thought Akane should have gone on a date with.
Yeah, that would have been so good.
Yeah, would have been fun. Missed opportunity because Jumbo is so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of dates, we'll talk about Witch Watch.
The chapter starts again with the TV setup where they just watch TV and
the barely disguised excuse to get onto the plot.
Yeah, I think that's happened too often.
It keeps happening. We praised it the first few times it happened, but that keeps happening. It's
sometimes
become too much of a trend. We need to break out of this. Go back to having reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you just want to get to the plot, but I think it's a little bit lazy if you do it too often.
Yeah. I guess the main thing that amused me about this is that Moi has this idea of dating as being, I'm going to be the best at planning a date because it'll be planned down to the minute. Everything will be exactly as planned. And he wears a very similar jacket to what Asa was wearing in the aquarium date storyline in Chainsaw Man. And she has a very similar idea of how to make a good date. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's also like, I'm gonna plan this down to the minute to make maximum fun. And then she's like, I just want to see the penguins. Nico's also like, she's not into this way too planned out date.
Man.
Yeah.
What are the odds that what's his name?
At least they. In fact, I was almost expecting this to end up with them getting surprise attacked by an enemy warlock, but it didn't happen. It just ended up with a fairly wholesome ending where they miss their train and then have to eat convenience store dinner instead of going to a restaurant like Moi had originally planned out. I was like, that's a wholesome ending because it's real life. You don't always have things going perfectly to plan, and sometimes it's more fun to just go with the flow than to go with like the quote unquote perfect plan.
Sometimes it's even more fun to discover joys in the little unspecial moments.
Exactly. I thought you were going to say it's even more fun to have to fight a devil.
No, that's never fun.
That was not fun at all.
Speaking from experience.
Although it did teach Yoshida to appreciate seeing the sky again.
Right. So this date, it's very Moi. It's his personality. Nico is so tolerant of him basically dragging her to all of these
a bunch of boring stuff she doesn't care about.
Extremely boring.
Like, okay.
I personally haven't seen what's it, Potemkin?
Battleship Potemkin.
Have you seen that?
I haven't, but I think the it's based on a real life story, right?
Yeah.
And the real life one sunk really quickly, didn't it?
I have no idea.
I don't remember exactly, but I want to say that it's one of those real life battleships that was supposed to be the best ever and then wasn't.
One of those.
I think it's a storyline like that. Yeah.
I prefer Guilty Gear Potemkin.
He has a lot of command grabs, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But personally, if I was dragged through all of these stages of the date
You would just say,
that are
let's
so
do something
boring,
else.
I would
This
be
is
like,
boring.
oh, I had the worst day of my life. Didn't
Yeah.
want to see the movie.
That's just
I didn't
how
get to
much
order.
Nico likes Moy.
Yes.
She enjoys learning the weird, boring stuff that he's into.
It's fine that these are his hobbies, and maybe like if he was like, I want to share this with you.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not.
She should tell him that other people think boring. Yeah, because it's not a good day until they miss their reservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say a convenience store bento, that's perfectly fine. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's something I
get convenience store bento, sit outside, look over the city, look at the stars. That's
I could
fine.
go for that.
Yeah, just according to Keikaku.
Something I've done lots of times and enjoyed thoroughly.
Yeah, and especially Japanese convenience store food.
Only Japanese convenience
better
stores.
Than other ones. Do German convenience stores have good food? There's a few in America that are good, but most of them, it's like all they have is the hot dogs that have been sitting there for 10 hours.
Ooh,
so yeah, it's not very good. But there's a few that actually have like pretty good food.
You're wrong in assuming that Germany had convenience stores.
You don't even have convenience stores. What kind of nation are you living in that doesn't even have convenience stores?
Third world, we're completely backwards.
Wow, so
it's
sad.
It's almost medieval. It's a more magical era.
I have heard that you have more castles per capita than any other country in the world.
Yeah.
Which I think that's cool.
That's pretty cool, but you rarely see one. The only thing that's close to a convenience store is a gas station. And those don't even open 24/7 anymore. Back in the day, that was the only place you could go if you missed the opportunity to buy something.
24/7?
No, some of them close.
Wow. Is that like a European thing? Because I remember also long ago, it's
a Christian thing.
Anyway, what number do you get this chapter?
66. It was fine.
It was all right. I didn't laugh, but
didn't laugh.
It was cute. It was cute enough. I liked it.
Enough. That's
tell me about this terrible blue box color page.
Okay, so this is. Do you remember what happened this week?
Yeah, Chinatsu killed that teammate of hers.
No. Yes. Chinatsu Senpai is now in a confrontation with Yumika, where Yumika spills the beans about how she started hating basketball when she came to understand her own limits. Yeah. And that's also when she started to admire Chinatsu for her diligence, because Chinatsu, they both had this really big tournament where they lost in the finals at their last year of middle school.
Was that the last time that Yumika played?
Yes, and Yumika was like, what's even the point if we can't win this? And then she returned to the gym and saw that right after the match, Chinatsu just continued training, and she was like, I can't do that anymore.
Yumika was hit by the giving up inning, but Chinatsu went on. She persevered.
And Yumika explains that she was like, Chinatsu is so good, so diligent that she, even when she lost, she could still go on, but I'm not as strong. And then she sees her with Taiki together. And that's her interpretation of being like, oh, so you do other stuff. Yeah. So I guess maybe you aren't as diligent as I thought. And then Chinatsu Senpai comes out.
I hate that she's mad at that. I don't like that.
Well,
When
in her
she already
mind,
practices more than she does herself.
well, in her mind, she was like, "Oh, that's the peak of
Mm-hmm.
diligence. She can zone out everything else because she's so devoted to basketball." And then she sees her having fun, and she's like, "Oh, what the fuck was that?" And
You're not allowed to do that.
yeah. And Chinatsu Senpai is like, "No, you don't understand, because when I go to practice, Taiki's there." And that kind of gives me the motivation to also go to practice, because when I see him do that, it's like, how can I not do it myself?
He's a support character, giving her energy from the sidelines.
It's kind of like when you go to the gym, and sometimes you're like, "Oh, I really do it." And then you skip one day, and then the next time it's time to go to the gym again, you're like, "Well, I already skipped once. I might as well do it one more time." Yeah. But if you have a gym buddy who always goes to the gym with you, then you're way more motivated.
If you miss one, the next time they're going to be like, "Hey, where were you?" Then you're like, "Oh, yeah, I got to go back."
Yeah, right. So that's the kind of relationship they have with each other. Taiki is motivated to give his all by Chinatsu Senpai's presence, and vice versa.
Right.
And that's why she's like, "No, both of these things are the same to me." Having Taiki, well, she says, having Taiki, having someone like him, is the same to her as still being devoted to basketball. And that's why it's okay for her to hang out with. And
what does Yumika say to that?
That's the cliffhanger. You can go to I think 2 pages ahead. This is this page here is a side plot, I would say.
Because you said, was it last week or the week before, when
That was last week.
and the basketball guy were gonna have their running competition?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did that get resolved?
And somehow they still have the what's it called?
Their mid sprint.
Well, they still have the leisure, the freedom.
Well, because talking is a free action, so you can anyone can hold a full conversation while sprinting, can't you?
Right. No. But yeah, they somehow managed to have this conversation while having that challenge, who can run faster.
Yeah.
Where Matsuoka goes, "Well, let's up the ante. If I win, you have to give up on Chinatsu Senpai 100%. And Taigi's like, "No.
The stakes are up.
How would I even agree to that?"
I'm glad he said no. That's such a dumb challenge.
Yeah. So the
Yumika says, "I was your hero." Wait, so are they? They basically have the same storyline as Tsubasa and what's his face?
Yeah.
From Garbage
Nakajima.
Soccer. Yeah, Nakajima and Tsubasa.
Yeah.
This is the same storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the reversal of I know I was your hero, and that put so much pressure on me. And when I was unable to deliver because I had my limitations, because I wasn't even putting in 100%, because
you admired me, even though I didn't put as much effort as you did. So I just quit.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. And she's being, I would say, surprisingly frank about this. Like, normal people, I don't think normal people would have this complete explanation of all of their motivations. And
it's very much a dramatization sort of thing, where someone literally exposits what they're feeling to the other person. Yeah, people don't do that in real life, really.
Right.
Yeah, anyway, going on next, we gotta talk about Jujutsu Kaisen, Chapter 214, Fearsome Wound, Part 6.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I remember last week we were like, "Oh, maybe it was a fake out. Hana did a fake out." No, she didn't. She got
was nothing more.
And she's out of the fight. That's it. Bye, Hana and Angel. And somehow Itadori is alive, because last week we were like, "Oh, he's so dead."
He got punched into a building.
He got punched through a building and then cratered onto another one. But he's fine somehow. He's fine.
I thought the basis for all of his powers was that Sukuna
from
was
Sukuna.
inside
So
him.
it turns out that no, the basis of his strength is
he's
Sukuna
angry.
mentions it. It's no. It's because he is like Choso, one of the children of Kenjaku. Because he said, "Oh, Kenjaku created something gross," meaning Itadori. Because you remember the few pages revealing that Itadori's mom had been possessed by Kenjaku?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, in a way, Itadori is one of Kenjaku's children. So he actually is one of Choso's brothers in that respect. In a weird way. So that's presumably why he's so strong. I don't entirely understand it myself. But yeah, Itadori tough. But he's still getting beat by Kenjaku now.
Well, he puts up
or
a
not
fight
Kenjaku, Sukuna
at all.
now.
He
The fact that he can put on a fight means that he's quite powerful. But
Itadori to me,
he's not winning.
Since I haven't read all of it, to me, Itadori seems to have nothing going on. Like he's Naruto before he got his wind upgrade.
Yeah.
Remember there was a common criticism of Naruto that all he has is that he can do the shadow clones, and that's all. And then eventually, like for the time skip, they were like, "Oh, by the way, chakra has different elements, and you should probably check out which one is yours. Oh, yours is wind. Let's train wind stuff." And I think that was already like 10 years into the series. People were like, "What the fuck?" Now he's only now learning
types.
Yeah, and I mean, it got more varied for Naruto himself.
I don't think Itadori is going to get any special abilities because this is the final arc.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
To me, Itadori is kind of like Naruto before he got the wind upgrade. So all he has is like, oh, he's a little bit tough. He has a little bit more energy. He can't do anything cool or special. He's just a little bit strong. So
keep in mind, he's the second main character. The first main character was Okotsu, who's the stand user.
If Itadori was fighting against what's his name, pachinko guy.
I also forget his name.
Hakari.
Hakari would win. We criticized Inuyashima and Maruo the same way. He's just a tough guy, but even he, in a way, has like more going on because he can read manga to heal his 6-month Sarira.
Well, it probably comes down to the same. Like being able to punch the essence of something is probably very close to how cursed energy works in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah. This chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, I was not too pleased with it. I guess
a lot of people were pleased with it. This page here, where I've seen so many people who were like, "Oh, this is such a hype moment." I'm like,
because I think while I was reading this, I was thinking about in previous chapters, fairly often during the culling game, we were like talking about how bad the paneling is for the action sequences.
Yeah.
Right? So I think this chapter I was pleased at that. Like, oh, the action it's very clear. I can tell what's going on in this fight scene. So he's improved the composition of the fight scene.
I didn't notice that because
I was like, it looks good. But then thinking about like what actually is going on, it's just Itadori is unexpectedly tough.
Special.
And then this here, people getting hype over, it's not even Itadori's doing. This page, like it's said outright, the next page, like, oh, the reason he's surviving isn't because he is special. It's because Fushiguro is holding back Sukuna from inside. So Sukuna is not able to do his full power attacks on Itadori at this moment because like every time before that we've seen Itadori going up against Sukuna in his mind, he gets his ass kicked instantly. And this is like people saying, "Oh, this shows Itadori is tough." Itadori was shown being tough by not dying, being punched through that building, which I think is BS because they didn't really talk about it. He just gets up and he's fine.
It's the same. This happens in My Hero Academia as well, where people who don't have a quirk that says you have heightened defense.
Bakugo is always generating those explosions, and they never said that his quirk includes being resistant to concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But somehow he is obviously resistant to concussions because he doesn't kill himself by generating grenade-sized explosions in the palm of his hand over and over again.
Even though that was an issue for Deku himself.
Yes, yeah. I also was just very unhappy about the fact that Hana actually was down so quickly and easily.
Exactly.
Like I think people have pointed forth that Gege is kind of he's maybe not treating his female characters very well because
really?
Yeah, Nobara gets hit in the head and just disappears from the story, and no one says whether she's dead or alive. She's just gone.
She's doing a kakyoin.
Yeah, she hopefully. Because she's just gone. And then what's her face? Underground turned herself into a black hole.
Tsukumo?
And she's just gone. And then now we have Hana, and like last week they kind of
last week she dropped a nuke.
They built her up by showing how powerful her angel-based attacks are.
Yeah.
And she's like, wow, cool. She's really good. But then she gets tricked by like the most obvious trick ever. And then worst. she just disappeared for the rest of the chapters. It's like, is she dead or is she?
She really gets her arm bitten off.
Sukuna bites her arm off and she falls down, and it looks like she's falling off the building. Yeah. And it's like, oh, she's gone. And then even Tsukimi came back and was like, I'm possessed by an evil sorcerer now. And then she just leaves. And I'm sure she's gonna come back to fight with the Fushiguro Sukuna. I'm sure that's going to happen. That it has to happen. It would be so lame if she just flies away, and by the time we see her again, we're like, oh yeah, we contained Sukuna again. That would be very lame. I am 100% certain she's gonna come back and fight against him. Now that because
Gege Akutami has
it's
time and time
two
again.
Ancient sorcerers who want to kill each other and are in the body of siblings who want to help each other. So there'd be drama there. He would be insane to not use that.
Well,
so maybe he won't.
He's kind of insane. Yeah. He's proven to us time and time again that he's willing to just blue ball us and not do the one thing that everybody's expecting to do.
Yeah, so even though people are hype over the combat like panels, overall I'm
lukewarm.
I'm not that.
I'm lukewarm about it.
I will agree. The composition for the actual panels with fighting are pretty good. Going on, we got Roboco. This is a cover page that he should have said, "Oh, I can't draw well enough to do this perspective," and handed off to the other artist who did that really good low battery Roboco fan art that he keeps reusing. That's what he should have done. Yeah, put us in charge, Jump. We're ready.
I've noticed that another volume of Roboco's Tankobon is out, and this time it's the Naruto parody.
Yeah,
cover.
It's even got the Naruto font.
It's pretty funny. I like it when new volumes come out, and
I'll zoom on
it's
that.
another parody.
It's so low resolution.
It's not. This chapter is not much to write home about. It's
it's Eden and Roboco
even
part 2.
Even in her weakened state, Roboco is able to resist Eden thanks to Tendi Senpai's tutoring.
Yes.
So she even defeats the commander, and that's the chapter. We get one thing at least. One
Yeah,
thing
what's
at
the one
least is
thing?
that last week I was like, it would be so bad if weaken
Yeah,
Roboco.
that's right. Confirmation. A devil was defeated this week. When we
Finally.
learn. Yeah.
I
Even
was
her
afraid
voice
that
will be adorable.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was afraid that she would, even in her weakened state, have the male voice actor, but Bondo reveals here the one thing that I didn't bother to check on my own because whatever.
You had to
is
wait for
that
the author to confirm it.
when she's weakened, she's voiced by Inori Minase, who most people probably know from ReZero as Rem.
Is she Rem?
Yeah,
Good.
she's Rem.
Yeah.
She's in what's it called? Is the Order a Rabbit? She's the what's her name? She's the sleepy blue color coded girl. She's in Girl's Last Tour. She's Chito.
Which one is that?
The dark haired one.
Okay.
She's Hestia in is it wrong to pick up girls in Danmachi?
That's a recognizable one.
I'm really lacking the vocabulary to
describe her voice.
Describe voices. This is a problem I had with Shank's voice earlier today as well. But I think
dude, in German, someone will understand.
I haven't heard her voice as Roboco yet, but I think this is probably not a good choice.
Oh, really?
I think her voice is way too, like, I would say, whispery and little girl voicey.
Well, it's the low power mode of Roboco. Or as they call it here, the spindly kneed Roboco.
I think this voice actress is really good as kind of like monotone but cute, very young girl who's deadpan.
The Ray type characters.
Yeah, that's kind of the direction.
Yeah.
I don't have her pegged as someone who's as ditzy and kind of an asshole.
So it might be a challenge for her, you think, to do Roboco?
You need to be way more loud.
Yeah.
I would say she's
like,
more
like
quiet
Yuko
type
from Nichijou.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind.
Not necessarily as loud as Aifaru's, but louder.
I really like Aifaru's just because of Power and Julian. It's the only two roles that I know. I like them.
No, you have to go back to the origin.
No, I haven't. I haven't watched the Muscle Girl anime yet.
You should. She's really good at screaming.
Even though that's like more hitting your likes than mine.
Yeah.
Anyway, when Roboco talks about learning from Tendi Senpai, this has got to be a Sakamoto Days reference, isn't it?
It could be so many things. Because it's so stereotypical. It's such a.
Because it takes place in a convenience store. That's why I made that assumption.
It could
even
be
without any knowledge.
I don't care enough about Sakamoto Days to be 100%
You're not gonna go back
on all of the panels, but it
You're
could
not going to
be.
go back and
but
see
it
if
could be
Sakamoto did this exact panel to Shin before.
It could be anything else.
Could be.
And
there's another panel that reminded me of another manga that we've read recently.
Oh?
Yeah.
Which is it?
When she's fighting the commander, and he stabs straight through.
Yeah,
he stabs
Fabricant.
straight through one of his guys, just like Fabricant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's.
I thought so as well. I just think
so many references this time.
I just think that Tendi Senpai is really lame. I don't think that's a good.
Yeah, he keeps bringing it back. He keeps bringing it back as if it's like the funniest running joke when it was played out like months ago. It keeps coming back.
It was played out from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then she does the thing that a lot of people say is JoJo. Actually, this might be Fist of the North Star. But I
think it's the part that she's her battle 100%. Cry repeating
Robo.
Yeah. people think.
But Kenshiro also said, "What?"
Ah, that's true. Yeah. Well, the JoJo Part 1 and Fist of the North Star were the same era, weren't they?
Yeah, and
Yeah, so it could
I'm
be
pretty
either.
sure that Araki was like, "I'll just copy this, and it's very popular right now."
Yeah. Yeah.
He
could
did
be.
find his own style and his own voice, but the beginning of JoJo is pretty much a Fist of the North Star ripoff.
Did you read his previous action series?
That looked even worse.
I watched the movie of it. I can see why that is not the one that spawned
Took
many
off,
sequels. Yeah. Anyway, so you didn't laugh?
I didn't laugh. Just had to include this. I did.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
I mean,
although the last page saying Roboco and the gang didn't have an idea of the tremendous events that were going to unfold.
And neither did the author.
It's like, don't tell us that.
Yeah.
Let us see what happens.
I gave it 54 points. Was okay, but I expect more from Roboco. So if you're in the 50s, that's already like danger level for me.
Yeah, this is all right. Don't have to be harsh on it. So it's okay, chapter of Roboco. Yeah, it's just it could be better, but it's it's Roboco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, what else was okay this week?
It's also just Elusive Samurai.
New character. See, look at her.
This double page, I was like, I was doing the Gaijin Yonkoma when I got this page, these 2 pages, because look at all of these flavors mixed into this girl.
Yeah.
She has the long Sadako hair.
Yeah,
she has the kind of tired.
Disappears by the end of the chapter.
Her name is Sheena. She used to be a warrior, but since the Hojo lost, she was like, okay,
her master served the Hojo, and he was killed. So she just
in the fight, she lost all of her fingers because somebody like cut them off. Right when it was really good.
Which is why if you look at the history of sword design, then later on, like I think around like the 16 or 1700s, you start seeing lots of sword designs that have the round guard on them, which turns into like the stereotypical pirate sword. Or the musketeer sword. They have like these big guards on them. It's because this sort of thing used to happen to people all the time. They would get their fingers chopped off when they're fighting. They're like, I don't want that to happen. Give me a bigger guard on them.
This girl is very disabled. She can grab things. She still is very, very strong.
Yes. Using her feet. She is for the foot freaks and the.
But look, See, she doesn't wear any shoes, and she's using her feet to gently lift Tokiyuki up, and then
all the way to her face.
When he's up, she balances him on her knee just to get like a really good look at him.
Yeah,
and I'm not a foot freak, but I
can understand.
understand when something good for those kind of guys happens. I'm like,
you're like, I'm happy for you. I can't appreciate this, but I'm happy for you. Yeah.
Yes.
There it was.
And then they go to, because they're like, she's probably a really good fighter. Let's get her something. So they visit the famous Masamune, who's always like a sword in any Final Fantasy.
Yes. Yeah, that's the name of Sephiroth's sword, right? Masamune?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's several Masamune. For instance, there's also Date Masamune, who's a very famous Sengoku era daimyo. Very interesting guy, but this is a different one. And this guy's design is so shitty. I hate it.
I know. The tribal tats all across his face with the piercings everywhere.
The piercings, the just that he has this extremely
he's
long
like the
face.
He's like the least medieval looking one of them.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Really.
And he makes like you've seen the pictures of the real swords that he made, right?
Yes.
The real guy.
Yeah.
And they're all like they're all the classic. Like this is the peak Japanese swords that you can see. And then in this manga, it's like, oh, this guy is gonna make the weird weapons for you. It doesn't really fit.
He just made so many good swords that he was like, oh, what's even the point of making something normal?
Yeah. I'm gonna make weird stuff now.
Special. I want weird stuff.
Yeah.
I want avant-garde.
He's like, oh, look at this girl with no fingers who's really good at using her feet. What kind of weird weapon can I make her?
So this page here, this is almost like, this is what I want out of Elusive Samurai. I want Tokiyuki being like, I watch this big birdie guy and get blushy.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is look at on the left page, this perfect amalgamation of she's the helpless, I want to help her ugu waifu who can't do her hair and kind of like a mess, but I want that. And at the same time, it has the zoom.
Look at her.
Actually,
look at her.
She's so athletic and yeah. And then they ruin her.
Yeah, because immediately after this, they're like,
so hard. Immediately.
Here's the new design.
Gets the shitty haircut. It's not even a Hime cut. It's just like, oh, you're a tough girl. You need the short haircut.
Yeah.
And then they give her the worst weapon of possibly anything in this whole manga. This is the shittiest thing. It's so bad. It's so anime. This would never work in a real life thing.
Even just thinking about blades that are on your legs, you'd think that you would attach the blade at the lower part of your leg, and not at the thigh.
It's the most unpractical shit I've ever seen. This is peak anime derogatory. I hate it. This is so bad. Why would you do that? Why would you do this in my
Go back to the previous page.
Yeah. Why would you do this in my historical adhering to history manga?
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary. Unless, what if there was a real person like this? But there probably was.
Yes, there would never be a real person like this. This is stupid.
Have you read Blade of the Immortal? Blade of the Immortal. Yes. Yeah. You remember the one guy who gets his hand chopped off? When he does that? There's a dude who gets his right hand chopped off. He's like, I can't hold a sword anymore. And he gets a prosthetic that just replaces that hand with a sword. He doesn't have to go through all this weird stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, that makes a lot more sense than this.
They give Sheena these gauntlets to replace her fingers.
Right.
Why didn't it stop there? Yeah. That's all
just
she
do
needed.
The gauntlets. Yeah.
Give her a thing that lets her hold a sword again. That's all she needed.
Yeah.
Don't cut her hair.
Like Guts. Do you like Guts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have done that.
Maybe give her a shorter kimono to show her leg
more
muscles.
Action-y.
That's all we need. That's all we needed.
Yeah, don't have to like change the focus. Be like, oh, your blade is now going to be on your thigh. When for your whole life, you fought using your hands. So all of your skill with the blade is based on arm movement. But because you have no fingers, we're now going to put your blade on your thigh for no reason. It's just overall a dumb weapon. Then the final page of this chapter is Masamune turning to two of the others of Tokiyuki's retainers. You two fight, and whoever wins, I'll make a special weapon for you. And it's probably going to also be some bullshit. Yeah. Why the limitation? It's not like you only have one piece of meteoric metal that you need to smith to a single weapon. You have to choose which party member gets it. Nah. Guy's got tons of steel with him.
He should enjoy this because this is the most unique group of people you'll probably ever meet.
Yeah.
The most eclectic
you think he would be super hype of like, I'm going to make something for all of you. It's going to be so cool. Instead of, now fight. I'm only going to do one.
This
What's
chapter
up?
gets 55 points from me.
Yeah, it's meh. Disappointing. The
Yes, very
new
big.
character going from
Wasted
this to that.
potential.
Yeah, could have been better.
Speaking of wasted potential,
Another chapter of Cipher Academy is here, and yeah, it seems like this entire subplot with
it is
the
pointless.
with Nohime is it's a completely useless side quest where they stop something they're doing, the dancing soldier thing, and they're like, "Hey,
Right.
go do this other
That's
thing." And then they get really deep into it and they're like, "Oh, this connects to someone you've encountered before." And then she comes back and just cancels the whole thing. What's her face? The princess girl comes back. It's like, "Oh
Kyora.
yeah, that's just
Kyora
something from
Toshusai.
kindergarten." Yeah. Yeah, this what you've been doing actually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like it.
So Iroha's Cipher Challenge, the musical thing
Mm-hmm.
against Nohime, gets immediately resolved because Kyora shows up and is like, actually, this whole thing, the punishment thing where I have to say but stuff all of the time, that's from our kindergarten times, and I'm gotten used to it
Right.
now. It's
Yeah.
fine.
This is so lame. Why keep it up since kindergarten? It's ridiculous.
And then Nohime is like, well, okay, we don't have to fight, but I will acknowledge Iroha's virtues. And actually, he's so virtuous, I'm going to back him financially with all of the morgs I have. What's a morg? We still don't know.
Morg is still a stupid currency name, by the way.
Yeah. And she's... I mean, we get the reveal, oh, she's actually almost blind. She has robo eyes, but she can't see that well with them. She sometimes makes this really creepy face, which reminded me of the next page.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the god statue from Solo Leveling Chapter 1. Which is,
Very creepy.
I would say that's probably also a reference to, or maybe a reference, but maybe a rip-off from Attack on Titan.
Yeah, it could just be convergent evolution. This is the creepiest kind of smile.
No, because manga. So this is not This is not a coincidence.
Okay. Right.
Even though it's probably the least unacceptable manhwa in existence.
Mm-hmm.
There was the solution to the music cipher that Iroha came up with. It was Braille.
Yeah,
it was Braille all along, and he was saying, please stop. And he made a mistake where he actually wanted to say ass, but he was like us. And then there's a funny bit where Kyora is in this left panel. She's like, leck mich am Arsch. Which means...
He's like, what?
The German equivalent of kiss my ass is lick my ass.
Oh.
So it's getting a little bit more intense in Germany.
Yeah.
Because like kissing the ass, maybe you're just kissing the cheek, but if you say like lick my ass, where you're
a different image.
Yeah, but this gets even more intense because Mozart has this really infamous. Mozart is kind of a...
Did he have a song
boorish
about ass licking?
Yes, he's kind of an asshole, and he's very vulgar. So one thing that...
Wait, was it Mozart or Beethoven who was really into cat boys?
Huh? I don't
remember there's some composer where there's a meme where it's like, he'll never be a cat boy. And then there's some historical record talking about how this composer in his spare time, he would often just pretend to be a cat and like roll around and meow.
That could be Mozart. That could be Mozart.
I think it was Mozart. Yeah. One of us.
Well, anyways. The way he says lick my ass is not lick it. He says lick inside my ass. So
Oh, even worse.
It gets worse. So the fact that Kyora says it, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
go all the way inside.
No, it's too graphic.
That's why it was very surprising to me to see this.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, this is history. Mozart said this, and he composed a song that has the. But also, you're not supposed to.
No, too gross.
Next page, I was really surprised how quickly Iroha is now suddenly in a position where
he's got an alliance now.
If I were allowed to use a mahjong phrase, I would say he's in Tenpai position. Tenpai is when you get all of the stones except for one to win the game. And you can be in that position for a very long time. You wait and wait and wait until the one stone drops that you need. But it feels like he's too quickly in this position where suddenly he has money, he has the trust of the rival character.
Yeah, because what chapter is this? 13.
Yeah, a bunch of girls who were mean girls and kind of
right now they're all on his side.
They're all on his side, and yeah, it seems like suddenly we're in a position where the season end pretty soon.
Uh-oh.
Don't you think so?
It's too easy for him.
It's a little bit too easy. Personally, I would think that the series should continue with him winning over one classmate after another in Cipher battles.
Yeah.
But right now, it seems like he wouldn't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, he got multiple people at a time.
And the chapter ends on the teacher discussing with what's her name?
Right, with Kogoe. Yeah,
that they're doing some kind of death game.
Somehow. Yeah, it's gonna be a murder mystery. You think death? Well,
whatever it is, but it could be.
There's so many death games lately.
Could be another death game, and maybe that might be the penultimate arc.
Who knows?
I can't imagine that Cipher Academy is doing extra well.
I would imagine that the main reason it wouldn't be doing well is just because it's too complex with all the puzzles. Most people are like, I don't want to read that.
That's probably riding strongly on Nishio Ishin's fame. I think I recently saw the ranking of all the light novels that are currently coming out. He's the top spot.
Wow.
Multiple even. So,
but not with this.
Probably not with this. I think this could get cancelled. And that on top of the English translator bailing because he's like, no.
I mean, I would too. It's hard work doing all this.
Honestly, same. It's too difficult and probably doesn't pay enough.
Probably not.
To be worth it.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's got 53 points from me.
Yeah, going on. Ichinose family is deadly sins, chapter 14. Minako's confession.
What happens?
Yeah, there's more. There's a little bit more flashback time.
The mom remembered that the dad had an affair.
They remembered because they went to the apartment that they saw Kakeru always going into.
Yeah.
And they end up meeting Kenta, the little kid there. And then they notice that he had come to the door expecting it to be Kakeru and has like a drawing with the paper he's holding is a drawing of him, his mom, and Kakeru being really happy.
But he says uncle, so...
Yeah, he says uncle. But like I said last time, there's always a possibility that it's just... it's because the parents aren't married. He's the bastard child. They didn't want to tell him you're the bastard child. So they say, "Oh, call him uncle." Could be.
The weird thing is that that would mean that even the memories of these two NPCs from outside the family have been edited.
Yeah, the whole world has been edited.
So it's still a mystery why this can be possible, but apparently this family, this is apparently the secret love child and the woman he had an affair with in previous lives, and now they think he's her brother and his uncle. Apparently, he doesn't live there. He just goes there and is like, oh, I feel really, I feel so comfortable.
I feel
here.
refreshed coming to this house
After working at McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Tsubasa is an idiot who doesn't know what an.
Yeah, he doesn't even understand when the mom's like, it was an affair. It's like, what? No way.
It's like, do you know what that is? And then you think like, yeah, of course he knows what an affair is. Later on, he Googles the word, like, what is an affair?
He doesn't know. He just wanted to check. He wanted to make sure.
And the fake dad confronts him about it. It's like, you always put your nose. Could have been happy.
Don't think about it. Stop thinking about it. You'd be happier if you don't think about it.
Back then, all of you were just living your lives, and now you have happy life, and you should enjoy that.
Yeah.
And Tsubasa's like, no, because I remember that Kakeru helped me and was like, sorry, Tsubasa, I'm so sorry that I did it. And that alone...
I'm so sorry that I killed us all in this car crash.
That alone convinced him that maybe he needs to remember, even though I think...
Yeah. It's painful.
Getting mixed feelings. I'm really getting mixed feelings about the series, because either way... The point that Tsubasa is making is it's always better to know the truth. And fake dad and like the whole world is actually saying, maybe you're better off not knowing the truth, because back then was pretty shitty. Right? So this could go either way, what the real lesson is. And I can see myself arguing at the end of the series that the author is wrong.
Could be.
So right now it's really unclear.
Yeah, because I mean, there's plenty of movies and stuff where like the, you know, at the end the main character learns something and it's like, oh, I wish I never knew it, right?
Yes, and
but there's also lots of stories where it's like it's better to know than to always wonder.
Right.
It just depends on the perspective
value
of the author.
There's value in both things. And depending on how shitty things were and like what kind of fucked up things happened in the past,
I think
maybe it's better to just live in the present.
I think in this case though, it's like it's better to know because your dad got replaced by a fake. It's too weird. You want to know what's going on with that. Because like if it had been like, you know, they have the same family setup and they just don't remember anything and they're able to move on in a better way, then in that case, like maybe it is better to just not try to remember, which is what they were trying to do in the first few chapters, right?
Yeah.
Because there's the whole thing about Shiori being really mad about the rest of the family not trying to remember. And Spouse is like, it's fine if we keep moving forward. I'm like, yeah, that's true. If your conditions are the same, like, yeah, just keep moving forward. But then now that, you know, the original dad is acting like he's a different person, completely unconnected to them, and you remember that much, that's going to worry you, even if you don't remember everything else. So you're going to want to figure out what's going on there.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of mystery going on here.
The mom here is now being very sus.
Yeah, approaching Kenta and be like, hey little kid, come play with me. It's like, sus.
Yeah, do you know what I was thinking about when I saw that?
What are you thinking about?
I'm gonna turn the next page.
No! Don't do it!
I spent so long in my old folders trying to find the original meme of this. Go to the next page. I have one more. That's the original.
What's that from?
I don't know, but you can't find this on the internet anymore. The Hey Kid
Until
one
now. Now it's on YouTube.
Yeah!
Now all of YouTube knows. Yeah.
So yeah,
Don't
that
want
was
it.
my
No.
initial. You
Yeah.
don't?
I don't think that's what she's up
No, of course not. But I can dream.
to. Okay. Keep it to yourself next time. Yeah, I was just gonna say that this is one of those stories where it's been building up so much mystery that I'm intrigued. But on the other hand, I'm also like remembering last year having watched all of the Marvel TV shows, and they all start out with some intriguing mystery in the first few episodes. And then by the end of the
Right.
series, it's like, oh, that was really stupid.
I
I
mean,
wish I
Taco
stopped
P
after
also.
episode 3.
Taco
It was Taco
P
P like that. Because
is like
I
that.
thought you said this you disliked it because it was too dark, not because the mysteries were badly resolved.
That's another reason, but I mainly disliked
Mm-hmm.
it because it had a somewhat dissatisfying ending.
Mm,
And also, I mean,
unfortunate.
the beginning was strong because it was really shocking and dark, but then
Mm-hmm.
it really
It went too far.
just no, it never
Jumped the
went
shark.
that far again.
Oh, really?
And a lot of the plot hinged on the fact that Takopi is had the IQ of like a small child, a very small child.
Yeah. You don't want it when the title character is too stupid to
He
understand
was
anything.
so stupid that he didn't understand what was going on. He was like, "Oh no, you're sad. Maybe we can do something nice."
Yeah. Despite having
And
such high tech to be able to do like time
yes,
travel and stuff.
in the meantime, the main girl was. He was like, "Oh, you're so sad. Let's do something happy." And yeah, if you've
Yeah.
read it, you know. But
I
if you don't
haven't.
haven't read it, you don't
Because you
need to know.
told me not to.
Don't read it. It's a waste of
Alright, I
time.
won't. Yeah. Hopefully Ichinose family will not be a waste of time and we'll have a better resolution later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going on. We have more flashback times.
Fabricant
Fabricant
100.
100. The chapter opens with this flashback, and then I don't think it's addressed for the rest of the chapter.
Correct. In this chapter, Ashibi number 100 and Hugo, the small dude.
Yeah, the short
little
king who's
dude.
with Luca. Yeah.
They get sent on a new mission, and Hugo voices his dissatisfaction with Ashibi's inclusion into Mort Safe because he's like, "You're on the same level as me. I fought tooth and nail for my survival. I fought fabricants you don't even understand. And you have the luxury, the privilege of having number 100 with you who can do all the dirty work for you. So I don't see why you should be on the same level as me." And so he basically challenges him like, we solve the fabricant problem, and then I'll decide if you maybe get the badge. And Ajibi's like, yeah. And this is really Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer corpse. Core, sorry. Demon Slayer
They love
core.
it. They want to be that so much. They really want
so
this to be
hard.
the next Demon Slayer. It was so successful. Who can blame them for wanting to emulate it?
Right. I wouldn't do that. It's just like, it's so blatant.
Yeah. Too obvious.
Yeah, they do have the
Yeah.
levels. They do have special
they introduce a
techniques.
new mechanic. It's this badge that Ashibi really wants all of a sudden.
Because it's cool merch that can be sold
Basically.
as...
It doesn't even have the Fabricant logo on it. Who's gonna buy this?
Also confirmation that if you are in this special core, you will learn probably some kind of breathing technique that lets you
because he's
faster.
like, how did Luca move like that? I need to learn.
I'm gonna laugh so hard if it's really a breathing technique.
A breathing technique.
That's going to be so funny.
Like Demon Slayer. Yeah. And then there's the new Fabricant they're gonna fight. The stitches going up on the face, it does make me think it's this, the same one as the...
Very possible.
That, but it's like, is this person he's approaching? Is that someone we know, or is this a random?
So
he somehow has a special eye that could let him figure out just by sight that Ashibi is from the Yao family. So he's got the superior flesh that Fabricants crave.
Oh, delicious superior flesh.
Yeah. Once again, a setup chapter, as many have been this issue.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens next week.
I gave it 56 points. Was like kind of boring. Kind of okay.
Yeah. Speaking of special eyes, next we got Black Clover, where Ryuya takes off his eye patch, and it's like I can see the weak points of the dragon. So how about you go cut those weak points, Asta?
He knows that,
and then he goes and cuts the weak points.
Yeah. He knows you can only defeat him by cutting all of the heads off at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those
storylines.
He's basically the conductor, and he's telling all of his musicians to do what he tells them to, and everybody's like, "Yeah, we trust you," and then they do it, and that's the chapter.
Yeah, and that's it. The title of the chapter is "Well Done," and very quickly, the dragon is well done. They're done with it.
Yeah.
Going on. The Tokyo Demon Bride, chapter 24. This isn't over yet. Somehow,
that's the biggest
story
surprise.
Just needs to end soon. Why isn't it over yet?
Here's the problem. The Twitter that always gets all of the jump info was like, nothing's going to end, and nothing's ending next week.
Really?
Yes. Even though
we just had two things end, and this should be
two things
next.
that were long running, and it would make sense for this to end.
Yeah, but it hasn't yet. This chapter they use the Anywhere tickets they got from Karuru last time, and it turns out they suck. Well, first of all, looking at this page, the sisters who are like, so easily forgotten. They're like, Jinta, don't go. And Jinta's like, no, I'm going to go.
Sisters.
Yeah. And so they just go. And they don't bother with the sisters. They're just back on Earth.
Wait, did you notice on the previous page here? Where he's like, do you remember all of those times I had these crazy adventures? Where
like, no, they don't.
I did very specific things. Do you remember those? No.
They didn't happen. Yeah. This is off screen. So much of this series happens off screen. Like when Monica a few chapters ago was like, we've been together a whole year. It's like, really? Have we? It doesn't feel like it.
Don't you remember the Manju festival? Where we
ate
one manju
It's like the
each?
opposite. It's like the opposite of in Witch Watch last week, where they're like, it's been a long October. It's like, wait a second, how much of real time has passed? It's February now. They've been in October for what? 4 months? 5 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the opposite. They're like, it's been a year after less than half of that.
I mean, if one adventure happens per day, right? Then you can have
then Witch Watch
October
is a very
for
short
30
time.
weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but they use back to Tokyo Demon Bride. It is no longer Tokyo and
Soul
it's just
now.
Yeah, it's Soul Society arc. Go get your Demon Bride. And the Anywhere tickets, I said they suck because they don't take them anywhere. It takes them to a very disadvantageous place in the otherworld where they still have to travel a lot and get into fights with lots of spirits.
Very annoying.
Yeah, so the Anywhere ticket's bad. Karuru, your mom should be ashamed. Because they see the castle and it's still far away, and they try to go to it. They get attacked by these stupid, I don't know how to describe these things.
Mascots.
Yeah.
Cutesy looking. Okay, I think. Is it made out of wool, or is it?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you think it's like chicken? Fluffy, like wool or fried chicken? This is Tendi Kohai. He's here to get them. Yeah.
I think this is. It might be made of rice. It might be made of chicken.
You'll have to see the colored version. which we'll never see because this is never getting an anime.
Thankfully.
But they fight them, and then they go towards the castle further, and they have to fight this guy. And he's super tough, and he almost kills Minako.
This guy is basically the same base model of all of the other mid bosses they fought so far.
Anyone who's not a waifu looks like this.
Is this guy?
One more reskin of this character model, so they don't have to do a new set of animations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is, he starts fighting them, and he's clearly so much stronger than Ginta. And then
he's kicking their asses.
He's kicking all of their asses, and then he's like, "Wait, do you guys know Manaka? Then I need your help. You must." No,
he says, "I'll help you."
Well, yeah, but
he doesn't say, "I need your help." He says, "I'll help you."
He wants them to do the main work, even though he's level 100, they're level 15.
Yeah, he'll be supporting them from the sidelines.
He could have, if he's so strong.
Do it yourself, man.
Do it yourself. And once
maybe
again,
he sees Jinta's potential. He's like, if you work with me, you can get even stronger.
Once again, Miyako is the one who furthers the plot. She's the one who's like, no, man.
And it's in a really stupid way, too, because she says all this, like, right before she's going to get her head cut off.
Yeah, and that's
like, in a real fight, she would just be dead before she's able to say all of that.
But that's what sort of convinces this guy.
Him. Yeah.
Persuades him.
He's like, "Oh, you said the name Manaka. I'll help you."
You said Komugi.
Not even to that level. Yeah, so this series, I'm just like, end already. I don't care.
Ginta
Monica went back to her home
here.
planet. Yeah, Ginta is. We've talked before about how Itadori is just a punchy guy, and that's similar to Maruo, not really having that much going on. Ginta is that to the extreme, but he's also very boring.
Now he has a weapon. That makes him interesting, right?
No, it doesn't.
When you give your main character a weapon, that makes him more interesting, right?
What weapon would you have to make yourself more interesting?
The one from the shitty one, Sakamoto Days, the meat
tenderizer
hammer.
The tenderizer hammer. Ooh.
The stupid one. It's a conversation piece.
It is, yeah. You can also use when people come over for dinner. Like, okay, let me get out my special weapon while I prepare our chicken tenders.
No, I would literally go like, look at this shit. Isn't it stupid?
Yeah. You hang it up to tell people about it. You don't actually use it.
Right.
Yeah. Going on. Also on the list of things that really should end soon.
Ginka and Glüna. I was making a different segue. You didn't notice that. This chapter is where Ginka.
Oh yeah, the giant hammer. I almost forgot. Ginka gets a giant hammer this chapter. This chapter, it's so. They're fighting Nosferatu. All of them go to fight Nosferatu, and then Glüna.
By the way,
pulls
the
out
boy
from nowhere.
The boy here, this farm boy, still doesn't have a name.
Yeah, he's just the boy.
Just boy.
You don't care about him. Yeah, and see Ginka shoving him aside here. That's what the manga is doing. Just get aside. We don't care about your storyline anymore.
Right.
And then Glüna pulls out this giant package that we've never seen before. Like,
yeah, because giving.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not like she's been carrying around this giant package this whole time.
She made it small with magic, maybe.
Okay, sure.
Magic can do anything. But
it's revealed she got this magic staff from the guild master.
Because the main character needs a new weapon. That makes it interesting, right? I just said it.
This main character doesn't need a new weapon. This main character needs a new body.
Form. Yeah.
Yeah. Get rid of Snowman Ginka. Return to whatever his tradition is.
You know how he could have?
Oh.
There was a possibility to make him better in the
How is
middle
that?
when they found the small mini Ginka.
Yeah, they could have fused. Had a different
They
design.
could have fused, and then
Different
you could
design
have
every
gotten
time you fuse.
slightly cooler.
Yeah,
Like,
every time they find another Ginka character design update, that would be good. Because I don't even like the design of the staff as a magic weapon. I don't think it's cool looking.
It doesn't fit Ginka.
No.
I can't
And
imagine.
he immediately transforms it to become a giant hammer to beat Nosferatu with.
He started drawing the staff, and then he realized, shit, this is not cool enough. I have to do something else.
Stick some jewels on it.
Becomes a hammer.
Still not cool.
Yeah, stupid. Very stupid.
Yeah, bad. Ginka Glüna, bad. Finish this arc. Return to your home planets so something else can take the place of this story.
Wasted opportunities left and right. I gave Tokyo Demon Bride 35 points. This is 42. This is below 50. This is like...
I would say I'm more disappointed with Ginka and Glüna because it has a more interesting premise than Tokyo. Yeah. Because Tokyo Demon Bride it's so standard of, yokai are in Tokyo. This at least it's a, going into a fantasy world. We got magic that can do anything, a new magician. They haven't been using the world as well as they could have been. So, anyway, next. Something that actually is ending.
Yes.
Tell me about the final chapter of PPPPP. The last time you'll have to talk about PPPPPP.
All right. So this chapter is suddenly all about Lucky's inner self. You remember he has the brilliant side inside him.
Lucky. Yeah.
The brilliant Lucky who is always sealed inside his subconsciousness. And who Lucky has learned to tap into because he can access the genius, but only if the genius allows it. So this chapter starts off with the subconsciousness being like, "Oh, hey, I didn't see you for a while. Let's talk. I need you." And the brilliant Lucky is like, "No, I'm taking over now. This has gone on far too long." He's like, "No, you can't do that. I get to choose when I do that." And brilliant Lucky's like, "No, it's my place now. The happy days are over, literally." And then he switches in, and then it continues in the real world again. Last time we saw Lucky was when he was sitting at the cemetery and his father showed up. Remember that?
I don't remember that, but go on.
Okay. And then Brilliant Lucky is like, "Oh, now I'm in control. And here's Dad. Now's my time. I get to do the one thing. The final thing to do is
to hit him." And that's the end. Welcome home. I'm home. Slap. Wait, does this? So it ends on Brilliant Lucky taking over the body, and then hitting the dad in the face.
Yeah, because the dad hit him. The dad kind of exiled him, which also meant that the mom deliberately, voluntarily also exiled herself.
Okay.
Which created the rift
They're
in the family.
a graveyard. Are they in front of the mom's grave?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So go to your mom's grave and slap your dad, and that's the end.
That's the end.
And also switch. Does this indicate a permanent switch to his asshole personality?
Possibly.
So this whole storyline is following this kid who's a piano prodigy, and all of his siblings are assholes. He's like, "I'm not going to be an asshole." And then at the end of the storyline, the finale is him being like, "I'm going to be an asshole."
Yes.
That's very dissatisfactory.
Yeah. You could say that.
Wow, I'm glad I didn't get invested into this series.
Yeah.
I feel like
On
this
Twitter,
has just been like a year of hearing you talk about how disappointed you are in it.
I've been disappointed with the series for a number of reasons, and
Mhm.
I will admit one thing. The
Mhm.
originality of the series, that's the one thing it has going for it, because it's trying to tackle the almost impossible task of having a musical
Right,
series
in print. Yeah.
in print. So the way it has to do it is by visualizing the music, and it's going as far as to make these visualizations actually tangible illusions inside
Right.
the world. So people are like, it's not just a visualization for the reader, it's a visualization
For the
for the
characters.
characters. And I guess that turns the series into something completely else, because at that point, it's not about the music, it's about who can make better illusions,
Yeah.
right?
It's like a battle manga.
Yes. And it hinges a lot on people actually recognizing the musical pieces or being familiar with them, because if you just drop something like, oh, it's Beethoven's ninth,
Yeah,
people are
most
like,
people
oh,
aren't
that's,
actually going to know. Yeah.
yeah, people need to know. So otherwise it probably loses a lot of its uh, I guess background information.
Yeah.
It introduced a bunch of very useless characters who didn't further the plot anymore, other than, oh, these are people who might exist in the real world, and their struggles are, oh, I don't feel as talented as these geniuses.
Mhm.
And
I feel
that's
like lots of
pretty
stuff
much.
about creation, about content creation. It's they'll always have some of those relatable characters because they'll have the outstanding main characters. It's like, oh yeah, these guys are so great, but they have to also have the people who it's like, oh yeah, the audience probably feels more like these people.
The main characters, I would say, main theme is that he's friendly, he's nice, and he wants to do the nice thing.
Yeah,
While
until
all of
now.
his siblings are narcissistic egomaniacs who are so overwhelmed by their own geniusness that they don't think they think niceties and
It's
being a normal
weakness.
person is completely beneath them.
Yeah.
And him trying to convince them always hinged on exploiting their own kind of the one weakness they had, by showing them like, oh, actually, you don't want to be this kind of asshole genius. There's more to life than being really, 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 really ridiculously handsome.
Yeah.
And he started convincing his siblings that they can be something else, and it worked for two. Then he tackled the third one, who was kind of the main boss of the whole series, and then for some reason the author decided, oh, actually, wouldn't it be really emotionally impactful if I use the main thing that the whole series is all about, the main objective, and just killed it off.
You mean
Because,
when the mom dies?
yes, because Lucky's main objective was winning over all of his siblings until they all come together and play piano together for the mom.
Right.
And
And that goal
I said
became impossible.
on Twitter, I said this would be as if if the One Piece turned out to be unreal, if it didn't exist.
But we know from Whitebeard that's real.
Yeah, but somebody then replied with with a somewhat better
A better
comparison,
analogy.
which is, if in Loketown it was revealed that Buggy had found the One Piece off screen.
That would be very unsatisfying.
Because somebody else was like, oh, you can't compare these two, you lose immediately, piano manga to One Piece. But it's just supposed to illustrate
Just in
like
terms of the
how
goal within the story.
Yes,
not in
and
terms
how
of the genre that it is.
Imagine if in One Piece that had happened. It would have been so stupid.
It would have been terrible. Yeah.
It would be so terrible, and this is almost exactly the kind of
That's the level of disappointment you're feeling.
Yeah, because from one thing, it's really impactful that the mom died.
Yeah.
That was kind of sad. I will admit that. But now the main character doesn't have an objective anymore, doesn't have any motivation anymore. All of the other characters who were kind of loosely connected to this goal are free to do whatever else they want to do.
Right, now it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Now it doesn't matter
Takes
anymore.
away all the drama. The only thing
all
left
of the
is
other
slapping your
characters
dad.
all of the other characters got shown what they're doing right now. And what they're doing was so meaningless and so pointless and so vapid and vacuous. Like you see Mimin coming back from her vacation in South America. And she's just like, oh yeah, I saw parrots and I saw crocodiles, something like that. And isn't it nice to hang out in a hot spring? Okay, fine. That's fine. Okay. Then Reijiro meets some classmate of Lucky's and it's like, oh, you like Lucky too? And he's like, no, actually I don't. And he's like, no, now we're connected and I'm super smart, and you're normal, but we have something. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And then we see Don, the ugliest character.
We don't want to see Don.
We don't want to see Don, and Mapollo 3 isn't even able to draw him properly. Right? Like, his artistic skills immediately failed him when he was supposed to tackle this really shitty design that he came up with apparently on a whim. And his thing is, oh, I want to play both Beethoven, but I can't play Beethoven because I'm not Beethoven. And I want to play him perfectly, and I must understand Beethoven, but I'm not Beethoven. So it needed somebody else to be like, well, then you couldn't play piano anymore if that's the
exactly, because you're not those composers.
So then he's like, oh, okay, then I'll play piano. It's fine now. Oh, what an issue.
Yeah.
That's, I would say, the last 8 chapters that completely meandered without any direction and any plot furthering and without any substance. That's probably the reason why the editorial department was like, you really dropped off. This is shit. End this.
Yeah. And now
I would say, considering that the chapters have been drawn slightly in advance before they come out, obviously it takes more than a week to get this into the pipeline. I looked at the chapters and deduced that pretty much around Christmas last year, the author probably lost all of his juice because he decided to get the death of the mom really early on. And then he was like, oh shit, got no more material. And then he just
just ended it there. Mom's dead.
He completely.
A sad story.
The 2 last chapters before this last chapter, were the Dada Sensei flashback, which also served no purpose. He must have already known that by that point, when he started the flashback, that the series had to end in 3 chapters. And he still went through with the flashback of a side character who's not even one of the siblings, not even the main character. He still thought it was necessary to show this.
It was because not necessary.
It was not necessary. So I think he already had made up his mind that he doesn't care about the series anymore. And that's why he was like, yeah, okay, I can just end it on this final chapter where Lucky gets replaced. And
he even said he's already working on another manga, so he doesn't care.
And I don't have any hopes for this author. I think this author sucks. He's really bad. He can't draw. He can't even draw his own.
Don't look forward to his next work.
Characters. When he's drawing something, he relies heavily on Clip Studio art, Clip Studio shop assets that he just grabs and puts in. Anytime when the manga kind of looks competent, you can tell that, like with the audience, you can tell that somebody else drawn it. Yeah. So, like, what is this dude doing in Weekly Shonen Jump. This dude
Yeah.
has no place
Doesn't
here when you
belong in the
can
magazine.
compare it to like when Murata was doing Eye Shield 21, or when right now when Horikoshi is putting his A game into.
Yeah, there's so many good panels in Hero Academia every week.
And
Just
every
in terms
page
the
of
amount
One
of
Piece
detail.
is
Yeah.
full of stuff.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to play in the Olympic, this is the Weekly Shonen Jump is the Olympics of manga, and people,
some people
I
just
would say,
are not at that level, so
yeah,
go somewhere else.
I think we as readers are allowed to have high standards when it's this magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so prestigious and so many people vie for a spot in there. And if you make it in this magazine, you basically are a millionaire.
Yeah. Probably depends on how many volume sales you get. I can't imagine that PPPPPP is going to make
No. But it is lucrative. You can live off of for a few years.
Anyway, now that their concert is only just beginning, do you have a full series score for PPPPPP?
I didn't take the average, but I would say it's probably in the 40s.
It's
not worth reading.
Sounds like you don't like that.
Can you tell?
Yeah.
I was trying to be a little bit subtle about it.
Somehow seems like that. Anyway, did you read the
not
new
a recommendation.
Jump Plus series?
Which one?
Beat in Motion.
I flipped through it.
Okay, yeah, I read it. I would say it's promising. It's another one of those stories that about someone trying to get good at something, like Shoha Shoten or Akane-banashi, that sort of thing. Difference here is that the main character has a backstory where he was really into art when he was younger and really wanted to be an animator. Until one day, his classmates showed a drawing he did of a girl running to the girl he drew it from. And she said, it's creepy. She's like, this is creepy. Don't draw me ever again. Don't draw me or my son ever again. And he's like, no. So he just put away all of his art supplies and didn't draw.
So you started to become a musician.
Yeah, just randomly. One of his friends is like, hey, did you know that you could probably get a lot of girls if you're in a band? You want to learn how to play an instrument and join a band? So he's like, oh, okay. So he joins this friend's band, and he also starts listening to an internet musician named Nico. And he's like delusionally fanboying over her. Like,
simping.
Maybe if I get good, that someday we'll get married. Oh, how wonderful would that be? It's like,
what? Wait, he's going that far?
Yes, he went that far. But unfortunately, he never gets good at music, and is fast forward 3 years later, he's in college, and the band breaks up because they realize that they're always playing to an almost empty venue. Just people don't care about their music.
I can relate.
And then, so at this point, he's in the very relatable position of a guy who's trying to be, or tried at least, to be a creator of stuff, but just never got his skills good enough, was never appreciated. And he's at a mixer one night, and one of the guys there is talking about how he started taking a course for aspiring novelists. And he really wants to be a published author. And the main character's like, yeah, whatever. It kind of blows him off. And then there's a girl there who sees him like kind of looking down on this other guy's dream and says, what a loser. And then who says
who is a loser?
The girl says that the main character is a loser. Because at first when she says it, I thought that it was saying about the guy who wants to be a novelist, but then she clarifies later. She's talking about him. It's because she saw him blowing off that guy's dream, and she's like, it's much cooler to have a dream than to just sit on the sidelines and be jealous of people who are actually working towards something, because you aren't working towards anything.
I guess.
And then after the mixer, they're waiting for the bus, and she barfs on his shoes,
As you do.
as you do. And then she pushes him into a railing.
Into the barf.
Not into the barf. She pushes him into the railing, like on the road, just to give him a scare, because
it really looked like he was
a moment.
About to
He
die.
thinks he's gonna get sent to another world, basically, because there's a truck coming along when he gets pushed into the railing, so he thinks he's gonna die. And then she laughs at him being scared and says, "Oh, if you felt like you were gonna die, why don't you just pretend that you died and act like you're having a new life, so you can just do whatever you want?" And then the next morning, he's like, he's thinking about it. He's like, you know what? She's right. I'm just gonna follow my heart.
Murder. That's
Nah, she knew the railing would save him. She was aware, even though she was drunk enough to barf all over him. No, actually, she tried to kill him. It's pretty bad. But he wakes up and he's all inspired. He's like, I'm gonna get back into drawing again.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's another time skip. So at this point, I'm a little bit like, oh my god, is this going to be like Earth's Child with all of the time skips in the first chapter? But fortunately, it's not, because it's time skip only till 3 months later, where he's starting to become So first, there's a time skip of 3 years between when he gives up
Dr.
drawing.
Stone time skip.
Yeah, when he gives up. No, there's not a 1,000-year time skip. There's a 3-year time skip from when he stops drawing and gets into a band to when he gives up music because the band sucks.
Yeah.
And then he gets back into drawing, and there's a 3-month time skip. And within that 3 months, so this, I was like, oh wow, the author is very optimistic because in 3 months he's gotten popular on YouTube, and with his indie animation channel.
Man.
And he gets
how
a
long
DM.
Does he think an animation takes?
I don't know. 3 months. But the musician he'd always admired DMs him. It's like, oh, I liked your animation and I recognized your name because you're always commenting on my videos and complimenting my music. So we should collaborate and do a music video together. And he's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's meet in person to talk about it. And he goes to
the
meet
the girl you've always been commenting to and sending super chats.
Exactly. This is like the Sims. This is the Simp stream. This is literally what all simps hope will happen. Is that the girl that they're reply guying to will notice them. Like, let's get together. So they meet, and he's super happy, as I said, because it's like a simp stream come true until he sees Nico and recognizes her as the girl that barfed on him after the mixer.
A few months back.
And she doesn't recognize him because she was too drunk to remember it. So it's the beginning of their collaboration. Their collaboration is only just beginning.
I only flipped through this, but after like getting kind of a grasp for it, I was about to post the picture of the guy on the train reading the big book.
Why women deserve less.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, she's
like, what a
she has
bitch.
a pretty bad first impression on him, which is why, like, at the ending, she's being very, very friendly, and he's just like, oh shit, not this girl.
The minute she wants something out of him, the minute she gets a whiff of she can use this guy, right?
You think she's gonna return to being a bitch?
She probably won't, but she's trying to get the most out of him, and that doesn't bode well for a relationship.
A cute relationship story. Yeah. I said, like, I can imagine this leading to a lot of pretty funny hijinks moments with them.
Oh, no, this is going to be cringe. This is going to be painful to read.
I really dislike the main guy.
Yeah.
Because his attitude...
so wishy-washy.
He's very wishy-washy, and he has a very bad attitude as well towards things. And then...
And he's a
just
simp.
From being barfed on, goes... like reverses completely. Like, really, that was such a life-changing moment. you got pushed into a railing and barfed on, and you feel inspired now. I did feel like the author of this is named Fujita, and I'm like, he must be a fan of the other Fuji and Jump, Fujimoto, because the premise of somebody who's really into art and then stops because of something is kind of like the main character from Look Back. And then having a girl at a mixer barf on you is like a gentler version. It's a gentler version of what happens with Himeno and Denji. So I think he's definitely a Fujimoto fan,
now I see
but he's not going as far. Because in Look Back, if you'll remember, there actually is death in that story, not fake out death. And also in Chainsaw Man, the girl doesn't just barf on him, she barfs into him. So it's much
doing
worse.
The Mozart thing.
Yeah, exactly. What? Being a cat boy? What's wrong with that? Yeah, so this series, the main thing that I like is I think the main girl has a good design. Even though you don't like her.
She's such a bitch.
She really is when she's drunk. Maybe she's one of those characters only mean when they're drunk. It's nice all the other times. Yeah.
No, I mean the I think it's generally social that when your true self comes out, and that's in drunk form, you're allowed to say it because otherwise that's the only way you can get an excuse for letting the true self slip. Otherwise, you always have to keep up the what's it called, the tatemae, the appearances, the surface.
Right. Well, I'm gonna keep reading it, see what happens. Hopefully it'll be funny.
I'm awaiting your reviews because I don't want. But if you say like, oh, it got really good because I don't know, she got her comeuppance and
she got sent to another world. Oh, what if it is like Earthchild? She goes to space and dies next chapter. That would be shocking.
How would that happen? This is not this
NASA's like, oh, we're doing a special program to send musicians to space.
Right. Just like in Dr. Stone again.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, do you have anything else to say? Anything else going on?
I need to go to.
Yeah. All right, get out of here. All right.
My night is only just beginning. Bye bye.